Welcome back to our Baggies Walk. It's episode 27. Thank you very much for watching. This week we're talking about that Plymouth result, and it just highlighted how lightweight West Brom are up top. We're also saying goodbye to Alex Palmer and looking through the Baggies February fixtures and picking out how many points they'll pick up. And we're also awarding the January Player of the Month. We've got our full team back with us. We've got Dan, Aaron, Ben, and somewhere on the screen, there he is, it's Dino back as well. Hope you're all good. That bust a few coupons, didn't it? That Plymouth result. Let's jump straight into it. Dino's kick us off this week for us, fella. What went wrong at Home Park?
It ruined 2 good days, to be honest. It was all right till the 90 minutes. I think Mobley must have learned a lot at Jed Wallace. Isn't a striker. And John Swift doesn't want his place in the team. Now, they wanted it more than us. They were stronger than us. They were more physical than us. And we were frightened of them in the end. They bullied us.
Refereeing decisions, Dean, we've got to talk about it. What's your view of it?
Oh, I don't know. I've looked at it and I've looked at it again. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But in the end, I mean, we dominated first half. We were so better than them first half. And a bit of the second half as well. And then the penalty changed it completely. And then their tails were up and they just barged us out of the way and won the game. So no complaints, really. We deserve what we got.
That's very honest of you, Aaron. Any issues with the arm with the handball at all?
I mean, whether it was or it wasn't, you're always going to get one given against you when your arm's in that position. I mean, if the ball strikes you in when you're like that, the referee 9 times out of 10 is going to give it. So you best not to defend like that. But I suppose it's just, you know, in the heat of the moment, you can't really control where your hand's going when you're trying to block a shot. You know what I mean? It's one of those. I mean, like Dean said, you'll have them for you and you'll have them against you. So it's one of them where you have to just say, look, you know, it is what it is. We should have scored more anyway, so it shouldn't have gone down to a dodgy penalty or to decide the game. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll move on to Sheffield Wednesday next week.
Okay. Before we do that, let's have a look at some social media takes. Mark says here, Ben, that I understand we haven't got a centre forward, but surely at least one of the false number 9s could stand in the box for part of the game. We played a 4-6-0 all game and created absolutely nothing. I mean, first of all, do you agree with that? His assessment of the game, and do you agree with the false 9 part?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the difference was Plymouth brought on a striker, Ryan Hardy, and they won the game. Simple as that, really. And we bring on Devante Cole at 88th minute and hoping something lands at him, which is never going to happen. Similar story, really. We just struggled to break down a compact defence. You know, it's easy to do. When last week when Portsmouth came and attacked us, when we're trying to break down a compact defence, you know, we haven't got the body in the box to stick the ball in the net. I know we saw this lad from Tottenham. Not really want to get you off the edge of your seat. I don't think I've got sort of Callum Marshall vibes about him already. Hopefully, we can bring in another one before 11 o'clock. But we're definitely crying out for that centre forward. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Dan, the way the table is at the moment, you are. I mean, at the time of recording, anyway, you are 7th still on 44 points, but you have to go all the way down to Millwall in 13th. When we're talking to teams who think they can get in the playoffs, so from 7th down to 13th is just 4 points. So, although you're still at the top, what we haven't picked up on is that actually there's now 8 teams below you that can easily catapult you back into the bottom half very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the Championship's it's a tough league anyway. It shows in the weekend that anyone can beat anyone, no matter what form you're on. And honestly, the way we played against Plymouth, it wouldn't surprise me if a few teams did leapfrog us in the end.
Cheers for that, Dan. Let's have a look at a couple more. David says, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but the first goal is not a penalty. The cross comes from the left side. Diangana and Furlong, not one of them got close to the winger. Dangling a leg half-heartedly makes me throw up. And one of them surely could have slid in. Diangana just stopped Furlong. What's your view on that, Dino?
Can't disagree, really. We were second best most of the game. they were just a lot stronger than us. And there was one time I think Dean Garner screamed when a player went towards him and jumped out the way. So I agree with him. It's pathetic sometimes.
There hasn't been a massive reaction online, unlike other fan bases. I think West Brom fans are a little bit more level-headed. I think because it's Mowbray, Aaron, they're a little bit more forgiving. Conrad says his interview was excellent. He's honest and clear without trying to shift the blame onto the officials. These are early days in his tenure and he needs to be given more time. This has always been a division of fine margins. Let's focus on next week's game against Sheffield Wednesday. Is that the best way you could put it?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about the Championship is you lose one, but you due to play two more in a week. You know what I mean? So you've got another 6 points there to make up. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, the result and the performance together were both very disappointing. But it's going to happen. I mean, we haven't been terrible before that. That in my opinion was just a bit of a one-off game where we were just not on it from the get-go. But like I say, there's a lot more games to play. There's plenty more chances for us to pick up points, and I feel like that the squad will only get better anyway. Obviously, being deadline day, there's a few more additions hopefully to come in, so that will only make us stronger anyway. There's a lot of potential with this squad, and I mean, Mowbridge still needs time to get his way of playing going, and to make sure that he gets the right players in and plays in the right places. I mean, that's always going to take time anyway, but I mean, it's bound to happen, sooner enough.
Okay. All right. We are recording this before the transfer window closes, so next week we'll do a full roundup of course, what's happened there. One thing we do know, Ben, though, is that your goalkeeper, Palmer, is on his way to Ipswich for $2 million. My first question to you, Ben, is who's had the better deal there?
Well, I've read somewhere it's not 2, it's more like 5 million somewhere, so I'm not sure sort of what the exact figure is. But if it is sort of 4 to 5 million, I think we've got a decent deal out of that. I think he's got 18 months left in his contract. If he got Adam Armstrong to play in the Premier League, now's his chance to do it. We accepted a bit from Luton last summer. He stayed, was loyal to us. You can't really begrudge a player Premier League football, especially if you're going to get 5 million. Pure profit because he's a homegrown player as well. We've got a ready-made replacement in Josh Griffiths as well. Hopefully, Joe Walton is back up, and there's a lad in the under-23s who's meant to be higher rated as well. So in that department, I think we're pretty sound at the minute. So I think you take 5 million at the moment. Yeah, definitely.
Dan, do you agree? And is he Premier League quality for you? I mean, obviously his kicking isn't. We've highlighted that enough on here.
Yeah, I mean, his shot stopping is second to none. You don't really make many mistakes apart from his distribution. I mean, if he picks up on his distribution, then yeah, he is Premier League quality. But like Ben said, we've got Josh Griffiths probably being recalled, and that's a good enough replacement for him. So yeah, to be fair, we haven't really had that many terrible goalkeepers apart from Button, but yeah, we've had some decent keepers like the past 20 years or something like that. So yeah, we're not really too worried about Palmer going. Obviously, it's a big loss because it's his boyhood club and everything. But yeah, it will be it is going to be a loss, but we've got plenty of backup. So.
Okay. One incoming, Dean, which the club messaged about before the weekend actually, was the signing of Will Lancashire on loan for the remainder of the season. What do you make of this one, and what do we know about him? I mean, first of all, awful graphics used on that. I don't know who's in charge of that. Albion need to sort that out. That's not me making the picture distorted. That's genuinely what they put together. Dean, what have you made of him?
Don't know a lot about him, to be honest. He come on as sub and scored against Galatasaray, didn't he, for Tottenham? But again, I think it's a little bit unfair on him. Everybody's saying Callum Marshall because he was being really built up. He coming from West Ham, and he was just like a young school kid who'd won a competition, to be honest. So hopefully, he looks a bit. He's got the physique, hasn't he? So I don't know a lot about him. So Jury's out on that one. Let's see. We need a forward, so he's a forward. Let's give him a go, because obviously Cole can't be any good in training at all, can he? He had his 2 minutes against that.
We can't keep Cole bashing every week. We're not having it. Aaron, do you know anything more about? Do you know anything more about him?
Well, I know he's good on Football Manager, so if that's anything to go by, then he'll be a brilliant signing. But I mean, the links with Callum Marshall, like I understand. Don't get me wrong, I understand where it's coming from, because he's obviously an academy footballer. Hasn't really had much professional senior football, but I feel like he's a whole different caliber of player. I mean, Callum Marshall, obviously, don't get me wrong, was a good footballer, academy wise, but when it came to the senior side, he couldn't do it. But I feel like Lancashire's he's done it a bit more. He obviously, as Dean said, he scored against Galatasaray. He's playing European football, so if it's to be able to do that at such a young age anyway, obviously shows his quality and shows how highly rated he is at Tottenham. So you can't be too bad at a signing considering that. And as well, I mean, yeah, it's been mentioned just as well. He's framed. I mean, I think he's 6 foot something odd. So it's it's a different profile to what we've got already. I mean, like, obviously, it's nice to have someone who can hopefully have a bit of an aerial presence in the box. Someone who can win a header. Obviously, we haven't had that for quite a while, so it will be nice to see. I mean, obviously, our wingers are quite direct as well, so hopefully a few crosses in the box and a few headers to be scored. So I can only say good things about him. I don't think there's any negatives really to be had from him. Obviously, it's just the fact that he hasn't really played much senior football, so it's a bit of a question mark over his head. But I feel like he'd be a good signing either way.
Okay. Right then, let's move on. Thank you all for that. Let's look at the fixtures then for West Brom coming up this month and see what the score is. 3 home games, of course, Ben, which is obviously a nice positive, and 1 trip to Millwall. And I mean, I put it to you, Ben, I can't see any issues with these 4 games. I say that every week.
We said that this time last week, didn't we?
Did we say that last week? Yeah.
On paper, those look like winnable games. I think 3 home games as well against. Well, there's Oxford in there. I think Sheffield Wednesday will be a tough game. I think they'll be up for it. They'll bring a lot of fans over. They're sort of not far behind us, so they're looking for that statement win themselves. So that'll be a tough game. Midweek games can go either way. It depends sort of what mood either team's in, and Millwall's always a difficult task to go there. We're still not sure what we're getting from our sides at the moment. We had such a strong home form under Corberan. Moby's trying a different method of football out where he wants to win games, but you might have to pay the price that conceding at the other end with that. So hopefully 4 weeks of training this week, it's another progressive week, and we can start picking up some results, starting with those 4 games there.
All right, brilliant. Before we move on, we want to wish a very happy birthday to Lee Burke, who always comments and supports the channel. So happy birthday, Lee! Hope you've had a good one this weekend. Right then, let's choose our January Player of the Month. Not the official one. Let's choose one that you think deserves more credit than what we've given them for. Dan, can you kick this one off for us?
To be fair, it's a bit of a tough one to pick, this one. We haven't really performed out of our skin apart from the game against Portsmouth. But I think if I was to pick anyone, I'd probably have to say Jason Malumbi. He's just everywhere in some games. Constantly just battles hard. He gets in other players' heads. So yeah, I'd go with Jason Malumbi.
Nice shout, Aaron.
A bit different here. I would have gone with Mikey Johnson. I feel like, especially now Mowbray's come into the fold, you can see that, how much Johnson's enjoying his football now. He's allowed to be much more direct. He's allowed to run at players. He's taking them on. He's putting crosses into the box, and he's getting assists as well. That's exactly what you want to see from a winger. Which to keep out Colin Grant from the side as well, which obviously he's had a very good season so far. He must be doing something right. So I feel like it's been quite recent as well, where like I say, since Mowbray's come to the side, that you've really seen more of the true side of Mikey Johnson. So yeah, definitely this month it'd be him for me.
Okay, cheers for that, Dean.
It was a toss-up between Malumbi and Johnson, to be honest. I can't disagree with what Dan and Aaron said. Probably, I don't know. I'll go for Malumbi. I do like Malumbi. We're better with him in the team than without him in the team.
No, and finally, Ben.
I don't think anyone's been above a sort of 7.5, 8 out of 10. Previous weeks. I'm going to say Callum Styles. I think actually I'm going to go a bit different. I think he's discounting the Plymouth game. Throughout January was quite solid. Getting forward, contributing to the attacks. He's been quite a surprising signing. How much of impact he's had. He's had a good few games in January, so I'll give it to him.
All right, good stuff. Right then, that leaves us with one more thing to do. In the last 3 weeks, we've been putting together the worst ever West Brom 11. We're finishing it this week. We've done our goalkeeper, we've done defence, we've done our strikers. So now we need a midfield. How have you done with this? Your homework this week. Before we come into that, let us know in the comments your own choices. It would be really helpful if we could hear from you, as we've done last week. So, who's the worst midfielder you've ever seen signed for West Brom? Aaron, let's kick it off with you this week.
There's quite a few, actually. I mean, you're looking about 10 years ago, I think, where we signed quite a few players who were dubbed the next Messi. I mean, just obviously never turned out to be that in that frame. Where I think it was Sebastian Blanco, who I can't remember who he signed it from, somewhere in Argentina, I think, but he came in with the potential of, I think he actually was dubbed the next Messi, and obviously signing for West Brom at his age obviously wasn't the case. Who else? There's Chris Baird. I mean, Chris Baird was a bit of a boring signing, really. I feel it was at the time where I think Pulis just came into the club as well, so maybe it was one of those signings where it's just he's going to be a mainstay in the team, but he never really was. I don't think he played much in all fairness, to be fair, but even still, he wasn't great. But my pick would have been Alex Pritchard. I think he signed on loan from Tottenham in 2014, I believe it was, 13-14. And, oh, God, I think he played about 3 times and he was absolutely terrible. I think he got injured within the first few games he'd been playing, and he never got back into the side. He was just a terrible loan signing for that season.
Yep. Some good shouts there. Dan, can you add to this?
Yeah, it might be a bit of a controversial one because he is technically a homegrown player. But Romain Sawyers, there was literally nothing positive about what he'd done. I think it was during COVID, actually. We played Leeds at home. It was in the first, 5 minutes. He tried to play a pass back and he just passed it into his own net for like 30, 40 yards. And I don't think he's ever won a header. He's not very good at tackling. All he can do is just pass sideways and backwards. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give it to Romain Sawyers.
Okay. These are great shouts. Dean?
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce his first name, but Gregor Krychowiak, signed him from PSG, Polish international. He just treated it as a holiday. We were in a relegation fight, and he'd just be posting pictures of him seeing various sites in England every day. It was an absolute nightmare. Did nothing, and there's some classics, to be honest. Mark Albrighton, he was good, wasn't he? Mike Phelan, Lee Peltier, Sandro. Honourable mention, you'll like this one, Mark. Tony Pulis thought he'd give Victor and Ichibi a game.
Oh, Victor.
At Norwich once, Big Vic. Oh, talk about a player lost. It was brilliant to watch.
Hey.
I think we lost 4-0.
Brilliant. I forgot he went to you boys. All right. Cheers, Dean. Ben, you probably had all your names taken, but have you got any more?
Yeah. The other one I had that no one said is Pedro Pele.
Oh, wow.
Name like Pele, but
wow.
In terms of footballing ability, just absolutely useless in the middle of the park. I've got a 2-year-old, and I think he's more comfortable on the ball than he was. But yeah, Krychowiak definitely. I think he had big hopes for him when he signed from PSG, and he was just didn't look bothered at all. Another Andy Townsend, when we signed him.
Yeah,
I was quite young at the time, but I remember him
late
thinking he had a good signing, but he was useless.
Put Mike Phelan in that bracket as well.
God.
Journeyman.
Right. Yeah. We've got about 3 midfield full there, so that's great. Cheers for all that. Okay. and plus all the comments as well. So thanks for that. Next week then is Valentine's week, so we'll be asking these four to tell us a story of how they first fell in love with West Brom. So join us for that. How old were they? What was their first game? Join us. Look at their faces.
It's a love-hate relationship, I think.
It is, yeah.
Toxic.
Absolutely.
Life sentence, mate.
Let us know in the comments some of your love stories. How old were you? What was your first game when you first started the Baggies? And we'll read some of these out next week for Valentine's special. Right, you four enjoy the game. No game this weekend, so you're all right, aren't you? You were supporting Blackburn, weren't you?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh, Sheffield Wednesday is this?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was cancelled. Yeah, you'll be supporting Blackburn, weren't you, against Wolves? No doubt on that. And we'll catch you all in 7 days' time to review it all. Thanks so much for watching.